And I'm excited to see what Sharks bring here, because if you are an aggressive team, Ascent is a great map to be aggressive on.
Yes, indeed. We see Sharks starting off on attack, and then, of course, it's actually NUTURN, who are taking some real estate early on, and they've done so absolutely quietly. There's the flash out of, yep, there it is, and the kill's gonna land as well as light drops. Allows taking so much space away. Frost is sitting duck. He's gonna drop as well, along with Denaru. It's a bloodbath over by Tiles, as so much pressure is exerted from NUTURN. I mean, that was gorgeous. A flawless round by Prime Gaming to start things off, and what more could you possibly ask for if you're a fan of Korean?
Wow, that was intense. That was fast. It was so fast, two of the teammates don't even have assists on them. And Lakia and Solo, I believe, over there. So what a round coming out firing. Expect Sharks to be a little timid here on their heels the next few rounds. Yes. And we'll see what comes of this. But NUTURN, literally out of the gate, off the rip, just want headshots, and that's what we saw out of him. Spectre buy from Solo there, as he's probably going to do a little bit of solo work himself, no pun intended, but you'll see him and Lakia work the site here, picking up 2-3 Ks, as they just do not let that site go down.
You see the shock dart off the cue of the sound from picking up the orb, pushes him off, and now they can take some of that space back. That ult orb should still be up for grabs. So some early exchange of utility, you see the priority that both teams are willing to put around both the gathering and the denying of that ultimate orb. So far, Sharks leaning that way. Solo's in a great spot. That ult orb will eventually go in the pocket.
Frozen.
No shock darts anymore. And here we go. Solo. Trigger discipline, good for one. Looking for more, and if it wasn't the Spectre, it was the freaking Nano Swarm. As he gets 3, gets 4, a second. Back-to-back, flawless round brought to you by Prime Gaming. NUTURN, I mean, they're scary right now, Riv.
They are, and this is why those rounds are impactful. Honestly, Sharks can come back. There's a bunch of games to go, but you're gonna have to remember how much economy for NUTURN was spent on these rounds. Not much. A lot of util stayed in the hands. Full armor there. So the upgrades are going to come in off of what we just saw was only solos buy. So that was a huge bonus for them. The econ is riding high. And now Sharks is going to have to chip away at a little bit more. Still the same game, just a little bit more to chip away at here, as that was such an econ round for NUTURN. Ew, Allow sits on that. He wanted the shot. He chose to do that, but nobody peeked it. So great job by Sharks to start off with a bit in their favor.
Yeah, great read from Fra. But what do you have to stop Allow here? Ah, the curveball and the Roomba, no! Allow hit it anyway! Oof. A little stop, a little go. Frozen cleans up the utility. The spike is not in the hands of anyone as Sharks look to exploit the middle of the map. They've gotten this far, no alarm bot or any other utility kind of keeping them at bay from Solo. And I mean, it's going to take a little bit. As you see, Denaru is still working his way around, but they're going to dial up a hit on to be here. They've got Lakia in the back of the site. They also have Solo sitting here.
Look at how they're encroaching as well into spawn. They've worked the mid, Doug. Yep. What I wanted to see. Quick TP back out. Frosten coming in with the Odin on the backside of the site, and they have to take it now. It's all about getting the Sova out of Boathouse. Lakia and Solo hold it down. Like I said, it's going to be real tough to take the site from those two.
And Riv, like, there you feel the gun advantage that they had, right? Like, the way they handled their money in the second round allows them to bring that level of firepower into that fight. And you even saw, I know you mentioned this a couple times, that shot was just, that was just disgusting. But you mentioned this a couple times. You and I saw it. It's right here. So Killjoy has this dope setup where the turret is sitting on the back corner, and she can play off of that trigger of the turret. So she swings around that. She lines him up and knocks him down. NUTURN are clicking on all cylinders here. Financially, they're in great shape. Allow still has an op, and it looks like he's going to get a chance at something. No fancy shot through the flash this time around, but enough to make him think about it.
I love this coming from Sharks. All out, rolling through. Prozin goes down. Leitch is going to find himself falling, as well as Solo. Finding shots left and right. He says, me first. Allow says, not just yet. Another flawless brought to you by Prime Gaming. What a game so far for them. Sharks does seem to be testing the waters in their save rounds. Didn't even mean it, but they're pushing through, right? They're just saying, all right, if we can take it, we're going to take it. And whereas last map, or even the map before, we saw these being very methodical rounds. And I said Ascent is fast because you're right up in people's faces when you're able to engage. Doesn't mean you have to play fast. So I think we're going to see a slowdown here, maybe a 30-second plant round coming back in as things start to change and a little bit more orb focus.
Prime Gaming getting plenty of love this map. And Riv, when was the last time we got 5 rounds, or we hit the 5th round of a map, and a team only has 1 kill? 1, right? There's just been 1 kill out of Sharks this entire time. That's insane.
That is absurd to think about because, one, you're not finding every ult point you want as we see the run it back come through, Doug, and they're looking like they want A.
Yeah, and they've left it, right? Like, A's free, it's open, they're comfortable playing for the retake here. I was curious to see if Sharks were going to work their way in through tree to control the back of that site, but no, they haven't managed to get their way in, and you can see Solo's kind of like waiting for it. They expect that to be what they want to exploit. Lich gets the spike down as Denaru drops a bit of utility to try to push them back. Allow has taken some damage, but that's it so far. This is going to be a spicy retake. The flash comes through. Suggest already takes care of 1. Gapshees is going to drop as well. There's the lockdown as it creates some space, and they have to respect it, right? They don't really have anything to get in there and deny that, so they give that space up. Now NUTURN find their way onto the site. Frost in a great spot. There are 2 still playing back and long. They both drop. Frost left alone. Frost good for 1, and Frost drops. Not able to pull out any of the heroics as NUTURN marches on.
Just util stuffed right now is Sharks try to get in. Everything they throw is either utility, is info denied, or it comes up with a ping they don't want to actually fight against. You know, they're like, oh, well, that means that's Killjoy and a Sky and something else that's just going to crush us down in combo of utility.
Yeah.
So we got a tactical timeout coming out for Sharks now. Things are getting a little out of hand here as Sharks, I'm sorry, NUTURN has seemed to shake off all the cobwebs and have found their groove that is now extending from map 2 into map 3.
They can just do no wrong, Riv. Like, that's now another rifle. Yeah, it just seems that way, right? That's another rifle round. The Sharks have been able to dial things up. They even had the run it back where they were trying to exploit tree, and they got some space. They got the spike down, but then there was no counter for the retake. Right? There was nothing that they could do to stop them from fighting back for that site. And even with Fra on the great flank, right, knowing that his 2 teammates were back in wine, they were in long, they were just kind of stuck back there. Fra was on the great flank to kind of blow that up, knowing that's where the attention was going to be. But even in that, they just get mowed down in wine before Fra even gets a chance to show up. So then he shows up and everyone's looking at him. There's no way for him to have an impact on the play. It's been beautiful out of NUTURN. Achilles must be grinning from ear to ear right now.
I mean, they're looking good. They got to be feeling good. You got a Blade Storm here versus Fra's ult. This is actually a really big round coming in for Sharks. There's not a lot of utility. There's no raise on the other side. It's a Sova Hunter's Fury that's going to be taking down your ult that is going to get that lockdown out of there. So they have a chance to get it up, and this is a round to start turning around at least a bit of the econ game, because look at the bankroll on the side of NUTURN. A few rounds tarnished, and they're still okay to buy. This is tough. Spectres as well coming in on 3 members. 4. 5? 5. So I can't tell if it's a Phantom at this point. Yeah, Spectres, there they are. And we're going to see what they can do with these ones coming in here.
My goodness, the aggression, Riv. You often see a one-way drop there with the gravity well, but they just gravity well and they push their way in. Suggest is able to get 1. Yeah, the kill gets traded out, but you're seeing the pace at which NUTURN want to play, and they're not letting up.
And the focus for the Phantom is Gabshis. He takes it. That's where it could provide the most return on investment of taking 1 down for 1. And they'll see how they work this now. I expect the round to go a little bit later. That's going to be good that they see Killjoy. Knowing lockdown is there may be more priority around it, and the info that suggests can grab there, but they have to consider everything. And Lakia hasn't moved. He is ready to rip anybody that comes into B, so you can see how comfortable NUTURN feels even having a somebody down here against 4v4.
Now, Lakia is going to get a chance at something because he's reading it, but it's all about how much they bite into this because the spike is still on A, right? That's still where they, well...
That's a call. That's a call out.
That's still where they wanted to go. They're certainly going to reconsider things. Yeah, that spike's going to drop as well. They know everything that's going on right now. Denaru's going to show up along with Leich. They don't have the spike. They don't have health. At least Denaru doesn't. Leich has a chance at something special here in a 1v3. Nothing but a Spectre. Nothing. 6-0 for NUTURN.
There was quite a bit of util there for Sharks to get on the entry if Leich wanted to throw in a smoke or a paranoia. A lot of dry peaks coming in there. 4 kills to Sharks right now as NUTURN has found their groove coming now into the second map, or third map, I should say, second and third. And here we saw it, you know, coming out of the pause, we got to go aggressive, we got to do something. They were able to pick up the Phantom, and that was the Phantom going down. So they did smoke over towards Cat. There just wasn't one that we saw go up towards Heaven here. So it was just a choice in their play. And again, NUTURN seemed to be around the play instead of all in it like Sharks wanted.
All right, slightly different look here, right? They're heavy stacking towards B. We haven't seen this really since, what, round 2?
Yeah.
So this is an interesting adaptation from Sharks. My God. Oh! He has already gotten 2. He might get a 3rd. He heard him. Yeah, the orb was there. It's just unreal right now, Riv.
This is just a no situation. Like, you want to be able to gain ground. And Lockie has been doing this from time to time, sorts it out when he needs to, and does it this round to come up with 2. Right? It kind of feels like he said NUTURN can do no wrong at this point as they just try things out. They're kitting, they're connecting. Froz down to 4 HP. They had that with Gobshees, that's 34. And Light is full fight right now. They're waiting to get Frostin out of this situation. If he could waltz out, he'll be all right. But what do they do from here? A frag would be great. Dropping allows op would be huge, but those are really just chips off the block right now. It's a wall they're facing.
30 seconds left.
I think the one benefit to them is that NUTURN haven't taken space, right? Like they haven't taken any real estate away from Sharks, so there's a little bit of room for them to breathe, right? There's no process of elimination, right? If they've taken long here, if they've taken A lobby, if they've taken the middle of the map, you know that the rotation's coming back. But it looks like they're just going to try to save this out and save some of the rifles. And folks, let that be a sign to you of how dire of straits Sharks find themselves in. That this is where they are at this point. That they're trying to save 3 rifles, down 0-7. They just can't get anything going.
Great kill there.
Was that kill number 5? Yeah, 5. NUTURN have won more rounds than Sharks have kills.
They're not getting the flows, and that's on your Phoenix, right? At a point, you can look at the scoreboard as we watch this again and say, okay, that needs to be run. That needs to be run at backs. That needs to be a bit more aggression. The confidence opening shot that you would get from a Phoenix, from a Jet, from a Raze being the first one in, and it doesn't seem like you're getting that. It's a little shaky for Prozine, and he's one that does have that confidence. Like we were saying, Prozine and Light were both Crossfire World Champions. They've been in this situation. They know how to recoup, and we're going to have to see if they can do that to make this a 7-5 or an 8-4, because things are getting a little dire here for the way it's going with NUTURN versus Sharks.
Yep. Yeah, I think you're right, Riv. For as brutal as things have been for Sharks, I think an 8-4, you'll take that, right? Like, that's very much
absolutely.
okay. But Seekers coming out from Suggest, you can tell they want to go there. There's the lockdown. Hunter's Fury, presumably to clear things out from Lakia. Yep, there goes the lockdown. And they're going to use a showstopper as well. Perry's in a great spot. Perry doesn't get spotted. My gosh, he's going to mow them down. He's already gotten 2. They never knew he was there. And if it wasn't Perry, it was Suggest. NUTURN refused to give up an inch. They don't allow anything in through that door. Another flawless round, courtesy of our friends over at Prime Gaming. An 8-0 statement from NUTURN.
The planning behind that, to then have it thwarted so quickly. The showstopper didn't come through. Sova's ult was up as the Hunter's Fury was achieved quite quickly. Remember, he didn't have that, but he did get 2 frags through the wall just last round to help get him ult points for it. So now he has the Hunter's Fury after a few more frags, pulls up a big impact ult that round, and you can see it's off of frags. Look at the amount of kill rounds there is to defusals or spikes. Or just timeouts rather. It's very, very wild for NUTURN here. Their aim is on, and we talked about how high their headshot percentage is with Suggest, Allow, and Lakia being some of the highest in Korea.
Oh, and the thing is, if your Sharks starts like that, certainly don't help things at all, right? Like, there's so much pressure, there's no room to breathe, it feels so suffocating right now that right off the bat, you've got Allow doing stuff like that, right? And it's not just at the beginning of the map when you're trying to feel things out. When you try to take a little bit of control, you get a second. Allow almost gets a third there onto Fra, but Fra manages to stay alive. They don't have the spike. They don't seem to have any intentions of playing around that at all. As Allow has gotten to 3. I mean, that op is singing right now.
Oh, a 4. Oh, he wants the Frenzy last. He actually goes for the Blade Storm. Right-click miss. Frenzy out. Double to the head as he dink downs, and Perry grabs that one actually from behind with the Phantom over the shoulder of Allow.